still say the bassist from King's X is the best bassist on earth. If you don't agree with me, leave your comments in the chat bot below. All right.
Absolutely. Rock on, Doug.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. There it is. Okay, so welcome to this episode of the Exertis Broadcast podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Nicholas Smith, coming at you. Well, it's live in some places, but coming at you from the studio in Folsom, California. I'm back, baby. I'm here for the week, and we're shooting some great stuff. All right, so today we're going to talk about cameras and processors and images, and you know, we're going to chop into some of the cool things that are happening in the camera world. With me today is Mr. Chris Skaggs from Lumens. I figured if you're going to talk about cameras, you bring on the people who make them, and you bring on the people who make them really well.
Good deal.
So, Chris, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate it. It's great to see you.
It is. Well, it's good to be seen, right? I mean, that's the important part. All good, all good. Okay, so we're going to cover a lot of topics today, but first and foremost, tell the world about you. Chris, where are you from? What do you do? You got this weird accent going on for a Californian. I mean, explain this thing to me.
What, you can't guess I'm from California? No, I'm originally from New Zealand, but I've lived here in the United States for 22 years. So I go back to New Zealand from time to time, so I get to refresh the accent a little bit, maintain my edge.
Maintain your street cred.
Yeah,
that's right.
Exactly. It's funny, when I go to New Zealand, they think I speak like an American. When I come back here, they think I speak like a New Zealander. So a little bit of an identity crisis there, but no worries.
It happens to the best of us. Don't feel bad.
Yes, sir.
You know, that's all good. All right. And now, I mean, and from a standpoint in the industry, you've been with Lumens for, a number of years now.
Yeah, it's been about 10 years with Lumens. I've been in the industry for about 20 and seen a lot of things change. And I love this industry. I love the people, and I love playing around with the technology. It's an exciting industry to be in.
You know, that is such a key moment right there, because, people ask me, do you love what you do? And I said, how can you not? We get to play with cutting edge technology that most people only look at through glass, right? We get to work with the most amazing people in the industry, right? I mean, and these are fun people all around, right? The people using the software, the people building the hardware. I mean, I love it. I love it. So you couldn't ask for a better gig on a daily basis, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's fun what we do.
Yeah, definitely.
So, talk to me about Lumens a little bit, because I think this is one of those companies that, if you're in education, you probably know them because there's, a ladybug on every desk in every, K through 12 school in the country. But from a professional standpoint, y'all are more than dock cams, right? So give me a little bit of the company.
Sure. Well, Lumens have been in business for about 22 years, about the same amount of time I've been in the States, actually, funnily enough. But we are an optics company. We actually got our start building projectors back years ago, and after building projectors for a while, we built the Ladybug document cameras, and as you said, they're in thousands of classrooms nationwide. And about 10, 11 years ago, we developed a line of PTZ cameras because we wanted to really be in the broadcast market, use our optical technology experience in that market to bring value and to bring solutions. And one thing I will say about Lumens, we are backed by a company called Pegatron. And the reason that's significant is because even though Lumens might not be the largest, the company with the biggest footprint here in the United States, we have some pretty significant engineering resources at our fingertips. So we can build a great camera. And with that, we build cameras for other companies too. So we truly are an optics company, and that is our priority, great quality images and providing that at a good value.
Yeah, so that Pegatron thing is really important, right? Because, you're right. People might look at Lumens and go, oh, this little tiny company. No, Pegatron's a monster.
Yeah.
Right? In terms of,
multi-billion
building things in the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, that last point you touched on right there, we build cameras for other people, which funny enough is how I found you all. Like my first introduction to Lumens was under a different brand name. And, and that getting, trying to understand, well, this company isn't making this camera, excuse me. And that to me is always a really interesting sign of a corporation. It's like when somebody's willing to take your product because it's better than theirs and slap a label on it, that's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, that really shows your engineering skills and your ability to create a product.
Yeah.
So yeah, phenomenal on that end. So over the course of time, so you got a lot of different cameras in the lineup right now. I mean, you know, and what I've noticed is a lot of them are still some of the original cameras that, you know, continue to still be popular, you know, years later, and they're just getting slightly iterated on. But there's a lot of new stuff you're bringing to the table. So let's talk about a little bit, you know, some of the new cameras that are hitting, especially like the R series, you know. Tell me about what's going on with these cameras.
Yeah, so we do have a lot of new cameras out right now and more coming, obviously, next year. But you mentioned the R series. The VC-TR40 is a great camera. It's a conferencing camera with USB 3.0, but it's also got PoE. And we're doing very well with that in conference rooms and for high flex rooms and higher education, just because installers don't like putting in a power outlet for the camera. They can just run a line with PoE and power the camera that way. And the nice thing about the R series cameras is your SDI, your HDMI, your USB, they're all, and your IP outputs, they're all outputting simultaneously. So a lot of options with
and
that
all
camera
being powered
there.
by the PoE port, right?
All powered by the PoE port. So it's a very versatile camera for a number of different applications.
Yeah. So some people don't know this. Like when you know, we have this studio here, we produce a lot of content, but it's also a test lab. Like we everything that we talk about on the show, everything that we, you know, that we sell through this, you know, through our company, we test, we bring it in, we turn it on, we see if we can break it. And one of the things that struck me about that camera specifically when we had on the bench was actually how much power it uses. When you think about PoE, everybody always talks about, oh, I need, you know, 30 watts, I need 24 watts. I need PoE plus, right? And somewhere down the road, we're going to see a PoE triple plus XE where, you know, we can power a television set at the same time. But you guys went the other road. You went downstream and actually are using less power with this camera than any of the previous generations. So while these monster cameras are saying like, you know, bring in a power truck and fire up 2 solar panels to power this over PoE, you're like, I'll just take a little, please. And something like 8 watts or something like that. It's really low for a camera.
Yeah, very efficient, very power friendly. Matter of fact, my own demo kit that I travel with and set up when I'm visiting customers, I use a tiny little PoE switch that I got off Amazon for like $69, and it powers 3 of my cameras and the controller all at one time. So our equipment is very economical in terms of PoE budget.
Yeah, no, and that's important, right? Because when you're planning out a switch and how many components you're going to connect to it, you gotta, you know, the more power you put down the line, you know, the worse things can be down the road. So utilizing less power off your switch, utilizing less in the cable, that's just that's important. I would say it's powerful, but that's the wrong. That would be tongue in cheek for this. So good stuff coming. We really like the camera. I think my favorite, and we'll probably you know, have the producers throw up an image of this camera during the shot, because the other side of that camera is it's actually a completely new design and look, and I love it. It's a little bit Starship. It's, you know, it's just got it's such a nice sight line compared to sort of the traditional, you know, PTZ cameras we see these days. So I love the design.
Yeah, it's a nice looking camera, definitely.
Yeah. And it makes great images. That's the other piece. So, you know, that's one piece, you know, that when people talk about camera manufacturers, you know, everybody kind of goes, oh, Sony, Panasonic, right? We think about the sort of the big camera companies and they're the chip manufacturers as well. You're using these same chips. You're using the, you know, the sort of the pro chips in the industry. Which is where, you know, some of what gives this good image quality. So it's, you know, it's not a third-party chip manufacturer. These are tier 1 chips in great robotics.
These tier 1 chips plus the Lumens special sauce, I guess, in terms of signal flow and signal processing, gives us a great camera with a great image.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So that camera's out there. That's the 30, but then now there's the 40.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so one thing. Okay, hold on. Before we got to poke a little fun here. What's the model number on that camera again?
VC-TR40.
Okay, so earlier you said we called it VC. I'm like VCR. I mean, come on, like
VC-TR.
we'll talk to the factory about renaming some of these. The VCR is dead. Let's move on.
Yeah.
So okay, so the 40 is out. The 40 is the 30, but with the extra special sauce. Talk to me about that.
Yes, sir. So the VC-TR40 is our tracking camera. It is a dual lens tracking camera. So it has a panoramic lens, 120 degree field of view in the base that will operate via AI and facial recognition to track the subject. And it basically tells the top camera what to do, whether to pan, tilt, and zoom. So yeah, the R40 is very similar to the R30, except it's a tracking camera and it has the same simultaneously hot ports, the USB, the HDMI, the IP, and the SDI. And nice. It's also PoE as well. So great features there. And like I said before, it operates with AI. It'll do facial recognition. And yeah, it's a great camera. It can also be inverted, which is nice for a dual lens camera as well.
Okay, so stop right there. So dual lens camera, and I think this is a good differentiator. There's a lot of tracking cameras coming onto the market right now that only track through their primary lens. And sort of the problem with that is if you've got more than one person on stage, or you want to go to a slightly wider shot, the camera can't see the other person because it's following the person sort of over there. But with the dual lens option, you've got one always wide shot that's looking at the room and that's, aware of all people on the stage, so to speak, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's a good differentiator. But traditionally in the past with these dual lens cameras, you couldn't turn them upside down, and you fix that in this iteration.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it can be inverted in the built-in GUI interface that you connect to. There's a mirror button that will allow you to flip the picture in an inverted situation. And you're absolutely right. I mean, that lower camera is just going to make for more accurate tracking. It's going to pick up a much wider view of the stage area, the presentation area, and it's going to pick up all the people in the shot and tell the top camera what to do based on the settings that you have set up in the GUI interface.
Yeah. Okay. So that's another piece right there. The GUI interface that is a change from the previous generation, because previous generation you had software that had to live somewhere else to kind of configure, and it's all now built right in.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's a lot easier to use. It's a lot easier to set up. I played around with it at EduCause a couple of weeks ago, and you just jump on the interface, jump on the web page, and you can turn tracking on and off. You can change it to auto framing mode. You can adjust all the typical adjustments for the picture. You've even got a gesture feature where you press the gesture button, and then you could have anybody in the shot raise their arms, and the camera will automatically know to go to them and to track them. So that's a
now
nice
in the manual
well.
It says you wave your arms. Is that the case? Have you got to see that?
Yeah, you probably need to wave your arms. Yeah, I didn't test the gesture feature, but you raise your arms, and if it says in the manual you wave your arms, that's probably what you need to do.
Yeah, which is another one of those really, I think, sort of important sea changes here, as because again, with some of the older style cameras, you had to leave the space of the camera to get it to release you, right? You literally would have to go hide somewhere to where the camera couldn't see you, and then it's like, oh, I guess I got to find somebody else now. Hold on, right? And with this gesture mode, you're sort of saying, hey, look, I'm done here. The next person needs to step up. So in environments where you might have team teaching going on, or sort of TED Talk style with more than one person occupying the stage, you get that ability to say, hey, go to the other person. And that's going to allow these cameras to be utilized in more types of spaces. Or you're going to have to put a curtain up somewhere that somebody can hide behind. It's like, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Just follow him instead. No, good stuff. What's the release schedule on this camera? When is it hitting?
So we have a couple of demos floating around at the moment, but I'm told probably December, if not January, we'll see them available for purchase here in the United States.
So yeah, and so by the time most
soon.
people are watching this podcast, it's you should be able to get your hands on this camera.
Yes, we hope so. We hope so.
Yeah, perfect. That's exciting. What else is coming to, sort of the camera lineup right now? What's the grand vision for Lumens this year?
Well, we recognize that everything's going IP, and Lumens are investing a lot into that connectivity. All that to say, we are releasing some great new NDI products. We have a full bandwidth NDI camera coming out that's also going to have Genlock. So that's a nice camera for the higher end applications. Genlock with the 12G SDI and NDI as well. We also have another tracking camera, the VC-TR40, which is a single lens camera, and it's going to be, again, a very easy tracking camera to set up and operate with the built-in GUI. So we're building out our tracking camera line. We're building out our NDI line. We're releasing a couple of new NDI cameras that are coming out. And to go with the NDI cameras that we already have, we have 3 currently available. And we also have a new media processor coming out. We have the LC200 currently.
So hold right there. That's, so this is important, right? Because most companies, especially camera companies, are sort of, hey, we do cameras and we do them great and we're done, right? You're not. The engineers didn't sit on their butts and go, let's just keep iterating cameras. The thought process when I look at it from a distance is what connects to the cameras? How are they being used? And you're building out a product landscape that kind of solves all the problems of not just what the camera does, but what it's connected to.
Yes, sir.
Right. So, and as you just sort of alluded to right there, the processors, the streaming side of it, most cameras can stream. Right. That's pretty given now with pretty much every camera on the market. But a camera just streaming by itself doesn't make sense always. You need to do other things with that image, or add graphics to it, maybe switch between multiple cameras or presentation. And thus you have the media processors. So now let's talk about those for a second.
Yeah. So we currently have 2 models out at the moment. The LC200 is a 4-channel switching, recording, and streaming device. It's a single rack mount, rack size unit that has a built-in 1 terabyte hard drive, and you basically connect up to 4 sources to this box. You can switch and stream and record. It'll pick up IP cameras over the network. So it is truly a great streaming solution for lecture capture, sermon capture, meeting capture, whatever you're needing to capture. We also have the LC100, which is a little bit more of a pro model. It's only 2 channels, but it has SDI inputs, and it also has balanced XLR audio inputs with phantom power. So that one's available as well. And we will be releasing an NDI version of the LC100 here pretty soon, which you can use with a TriCaster and with NDI cameras. So we're excited about that because we've gotten a lot of requests for NDI in our media processor.
So, okay, interesting. You on the LC, sort of the upcoming LC series, you mentioned NDI is coming into those. But one of the feature sets I love in the LC200 is that while it doesn't have NDI, it still works connectless over the network, right? It still supports IP formats.
Yes.
Hit me with that just a little bit about how you can, sort of take a Lumens camera and just plug it into the network and still use it with an LC200.
Yeah. So you can basically connect, as long as they're all on the same subnet, you can connect Lumens cameras to the network that the LC is connected to. You would go into the built-in GUI interface and search for cameras. You just basically click refresh and the LC will search the network for Lumens cameras and pull up however many cameras it finds, and then you just log into the camera and there it creates it as a source in the director window that you can select during record.
Nice. So, it's clean. It's an easy configuration, sort of an easy button to setting up a system.
Very easy to use. Yeah. Very easy to configure.
And then one other piece of that One other piece of that LC series is ease of use for the customers. I mean, if we think about in a lecture hall, in a classroom, in a medical setting, these aren't, sort of production specialists. These aren't people who can, manage, or the focus of what those people should be doing is lecturing, teaching, performing tasks. And when you're distracted by technology, that sort of takes that away. And the LC200 is easy to use. I mean, talk to us why. What's there to make that simplicity?
It is very easy to use. You can operate the LC unit a number of ways. You can use the buttons on the front of the unit, kind of like you would control a one of those old DVRs that you had in your home years ago.
Or a VCR.
Or VCR, not Betamax, but we also have a wall controller that will allow you to connect your USB thumb drive for exporting and recall macros. So when you configure the LC unit, it can be configured to just press a button on the wall and it'll record, press the button again and it'll stop. So we can have it as simple or as complicated to use as you wish. It all depends on your preference. We can even have the front buttons on the LC locked, so nobody can access the box except someone that logs in. So there's a number of different options.
Yeah, and one other one that kind of really hit me was its schedulability, right? Being able to schedule an event or a recording, and then publish that data automatically up to say like Panopto, or then people can be viewing it later. Yeah,
you can definitely do that. Yeah, import a calendar and schedule it that way.
So it's interesting. I'm going to jump back for a second. So the LC200, I think one of the features that we end up using it most for with customers is its multi-channel record capabilities.
Yes.
Right. And so we do a lot of maybe lecture halls or even just training rooms where they want to record multiple cameras, 4 cameras at once, to be able to go back and review that footage. And so it's sort of found a life even just outside of traditional classrooms.
Medical training facilities. We've put over 100 units into the Utah State courts in the last 6 months. So they're definitely applicable to a wide range of applications.
Yeah, that's spectacular. And then the LC200, really, when I think about most education environments, there's really only 2 sources, right? It's a camera and it's a laptop, right? It's their presentation, and sort of the LC100 sort of really speaks to that specifically, of saying, hey, look, I don't need 4 sources. I just need these 2 here, but I want to stream it. I want to record it. I want to, now, all the LC series works with a lot of cloud providers. Talk to me about the connectivity tissue of where they can send that content.
Yeah, I mean, we partner with Panopto and Kaltura. So the LC units can work with those providers. You can also have the LC media processor talk to an FTP site. So there's a number of different ways of managing the data that comes from the box. You can record internally. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, as well as just streaming to like YouTube and Facebook and the traditionals as well.
RTMP, RTSP, all the good stuff.
All right, so that's the media processors. But again, keeping with sort of the vein of the story here, Lumens is looking at the entire end-to-end solution, right?
Yes,
like all the pieces of the puzzle. So with that, you have a whole line of AV over IP products as well.
Yeah, we have AV over IP encoders, decoders, and control boxes. Great for signage or just sending signal over category cable. However many sources you have, you can send them to as many destinations as you need. And we have a 1080p variety and a 4K variety at this point. And we do have some new product coming out here next year in that line, which I can't really go into right now, but we are definitely looking to build out that solution here.
I see what you just did there. You just trying to secure yourself a spot in an upcoming show so you can talk about those products later. Okay, that's fair.
Yep.
That's fair. Nice. So much good stuff.
Yeah.
So, well, Chris, this has been awesome. I love, just sort of hearing the vision and the direction of the company.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd sort of want the viewers to know about Lumens at this point?
We just have a lot of great solutions coming up in the pipeline. We have PTZ cameras and solutions for most applications. So, you don't necessarily have to be a system design engineer to use Lumens. I mean, reach out to JB&A, Exertis Broadcast, excuse me.
That's right. It happens. Don't feel bad.
Or reach out to Lumens, and we
try put the logo right here to make it easy.
Yeah, there you go. But I'm looking at the camera, not at my computer.
Fair enough. Good man. He's been taught well.
Or contact Lumens and we can help you find the right camera for your application. We have a full complement of cameras right now. If you need to stream, we have a streaming box that will do what you need it to do. But just think Lumens when you're thinking broadcast or lecture capture or any other number of applications. We have a solution for you. So we're here to help.
Spectacular. All right, Chris, thanks for being on the show. Always a pleasure to have you.
Yeah,
and
thank you, Nick.
Obviously now you've secured a spot for a future one because we got to talk about what's coming next. I think there's good stuff. That's what I was afraid of. All right, this has been another episode of the Exertis Broadcast podcast. For more questions or more answers, hit us up on the web, dial into the phone. Yes, people still use phones. Call us anytime. And we'll see you all on the next episode of the podcast.